Evening, you're watching Breaking Today News right here on Switch TV. I am Lincoln Wumbogo. Our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. We have a lot in line for you tonight, but first, let's take a look at the headlines. The National Assembly Finance Committee granted 7 more days to probe higher fuel costs ahead of tabling its report on Tuesday next week. As teachers mark World Teachers' Day, NAT Secretary General Colin Suyo dismisses calls from a section of teachers demanding for the resignation of non-teachers at the leadership of the unions. And from the sports desk, Harambee Stars arrived safely in Morocco ahead of their face-off match with Mali on Thursday. Glad you're watching. With 30 minutes of the broadcast begins now. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) has been asked to extend the timeline of registering new voters to more than 30 days. This is after the electoral body decried that lack of sufficient budget has seen 3 station biometric voter registration BVR kits in each of the 1,450 wards the country. Our senior political reporter Joel Chacha with more details.
Registration exercise that is ongoing for the 2nd day and will continue for the next 30 days is already experiencing challenges on shortage of biometric voter registration. This is after IEBC Chairman Wafula Chebukati expressed that enough kits could not be procured due to lack of sufficient funds.
We don't have sufficient resources to have kits in every polling station, but work has to start.
This has now elicited reactions, with Migori Senator Chilo Ayako, who is also Migori gubernatorial aspirant, lamenting that there is need to extend the time for registering new voters for the commission to hit its target of over 6 million voters.
Kila siku chombo kimoja kinaweza kusajili wapigaji kura watu kama 30. Sasa 30 na 3,000, hiyo haiwezi fika milioni 6. Mimi naomba waongeze hiyo muda, na waomba wazidi kutuomba pesa kama bunge, na nawaomba waangalie gharama ile ya kusajili mtu mmoja. Hiyo gharama wanasema iko juu sana, wailinganishe na gharama hizi nchi jirani zimeweka.
Legislators remain divided on whether 2022 general elections should be postponed, citing that IEBC may not be prepared to hold a free and fair general elections.
Haiwezi kusongeshwa, haijakosa hela. Nafikiri mwenye anajaribu kusema kwamba hakuna hela za kufanya uchaguzi, nafikiri anadanganya wa Kenya, kwa sababu kuna ile inaitwa supplementary budget.
For us to have a credible election, there have to be resources to enable IEBC do their work.
Wanaweza sitiza kura wakitafuta pesa.
Saa hii pesa inapatikana ielekezwe kupambana na mambo ya corona na kupambana na mambo ya njaa.
It's now a matter of wait and see if IEBC will lower its budget that has been termed as too high or receive the monies from the National Treasury in preparation for the 2022 general elections. Joel Chacha, Switch TV, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
Thank you, Joel Chacha, for opening the reports for us. Moving on, NAT Secretary General Colin Suyo has dismissed calls from a section of teachers demanding for the resignation of non-teachers at the leadership of the unions. Oyo was speaking at the marking of the World Teachers' Day, where 31 teachers were fitted for their exemplary performance. Shilanga Teach, Francis report.
Just a day after a section of teachers demanded for the removal of non-teachers at the helm of leadership in teachers' unions, the Kenya National Union of Teachers Secretary General Colin Suyo, in a rejoinder, has dismissed their claims, terming them as ill-advised.
Being referred to as a non-teacher. I'm a teacher by profession, and that is why I'm here today. So this noise about, being pushed from some other hand that we know, it must stop. And I must say here emphatically that we are not scared of any opposition in our leadership. We are not scared. And come, baby, come.
The teachers' unions and TSC were at the Kenya Institute of Development marking the World Teachers' Day, whose theme is Teachers at the Heart of Education Recovery. The group noted that the challenges teachers face have become more aggravated since the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic.
A role for which they were not adequately prepared. The majority do not possess the requisite skills for online teaching, learning assessment, nor did they have the necessary tools to do so.
On the other hand, teachers were urged to embrace the rollout of refresher courses as the world goes digital.
That today we are now expecting a slightly higher academic expectation of the teacher who wants to come. And this is demanded because of the intent, the purpose of what we want to see the teacher being able to achieve within the competency-based reform that we are seeing.
31 teachers from across the country were fitted, including the Global Teacher of the Year, Peter Tabichi, for their exemplary performance and beating all odds in the tough teaching profession. Even as this day ends with all the pomp and glory, it is worth noting the effort each teacher plays in fighting illiteracy in the country, despite the challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic. And for all the teachers out there, it's a happy Teachers' Day. Shilangatich, Switch TV, Nairobi.
Indeed, a happy Teachers' Day to all the teachers out there. Thank you, Shilangatich. The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union KMPDU and Allied Health Sectors Unions have strongly rejected the proposed Health Amendment Bill 2021, saying it poses a threat to the health sector. The joint union has further added that if the bill is passed, the health professionals will be forced to rally their members not to subscribe for or renew licenses or register with those bodies and councils, threatening they will self-regulate. Harriet Chimere with more details.
The health associations and unions joining hands have profusely rejected the bill, saying the move is an attempt to remove professionals from the councils and boards, adding it will result in the loss of regulation.
Very soon we'll have hospitals, we'll have different facilities being led and being managed by non-medical professionals. And in this regard, the technical know-how or the technical operations of those facilities will be lost.
What does that mean? That means that then we will not be able to achieve the universal health coverage.
The joint union also added that the amendment bill, which seeks to directly appoint members of the council and board by the cabinet secretary responsible for health services, will only be politicized.
We asked for a health service commission so that we would ensure that the management of the health workforce is done in a professional and in a harmonious way. It was refused. It was even removed from the BBI.
The healthcare professionals have also called on Kenyans to object to what they have termed a state capture of essential services. The unions have warned that if the bill is passed, they will self-regulate themselves and rally their members not to subscribe or renew licenses or register with those bodies and councils in the proposed health bill. The rift between health professionals and the government keeps widening over the proposed health law amendment bill, with the health professionals saying the bill seeks to interfere with their independence. Reporting for Switch TV, my name is Harriet Chimere.
Thank you, Harriet Chimere. In Kenya, there are an estimated 3.5 new clinical cases and 10,700 deaths each year, with those living in Western Kenya living at a higher risk of contracting malaria, according to Centers for Disease Control (CDC). Adding to the worrying statistics, experts say mosquitoes are now resistant to insecticides, and the 16% of those transmissions are from mosquito bites in outdoor settings. To eliminate the disease, the African Institute for Development Policy has recommended that a drug by the name ivermectin for human beings and livestock should be used, accompanied by genetically modifying mosquitoes, eliminating breeding sites, and coming up with toxic sugar base to kill mosquitoes, among other measures. Take a look.
Have you ever known exactly why mosquitoes always want to come and bite around the ankle here? This is basically because of the odors that you produce, and especially for men. Every time the mosquito comes from the breeding sites and it's an adult, it has come out, the first thing it wants to do is to feed on sugar. And they normally get it from the nectar from plants. And this is based on that. So the whole bait thing is actually based on having a bait that you can attract those mosquitoes to that place, but then add an insecticide there and then kill them, I think you'll be in a better position, because that bait is a simple thing that you can just hang in the house, and mosquitoes will just be coming and being attracted there. Just like the way I said that you can have your socks removed and hang them there, they will be attracting mosquitoes there.
Meanwhile, the National Assembly Finance Committee has been granted 7 more days to probe high fuel costs and is set to table its report on Tuesday next week. This is after National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi granted the committee 14 days to look into the matter and report to the House as provided for in the Constitution. However, Petroleum Cabinet Secretary John Munyes has asked Kenyans to prepare for tougher times ahead, ruling out any possibility of fuel price reduction. Munyes has also blamed Treasury for failing to release 24 billion shillings meant for fuel price stabilization.
Particularly in the area of demurrage, because what is charged on demurrage ends up being factored into the costs of fuel.
One point is that we visited the port of Mombasa, and we have realized the reason as to why these challenges are happening, particularly the demurrages. The demurrages are quite extensive, in billions actually, and therefore unless we do thorough investigations and come into the point that this is the reason as to why we are losing this amount of billions of shillings, we cannot bring a half-baked report to the table.
I think let us allow the committee that that extra 7 days. I think I'm persuaded they are doing a good job.
Now meet Beverly Nkumboke, an education student at Kenyatta University, who has gained prominence on Twitter for posting his side hustle, the Chips Mwitu business, which has attracted huge traffic from all walks of life. Now our very own Apollo James brings us a story after paying a visit to his strategic joint at Kwaratasi area. Take a look.
Sasa, hey, niaje. Good to see you, eh? Ninikaribia ama.
Finally, welcome.
How have you been?
Use that one.
Thank you. Now I can see you're so busy.
I'm very busy. Yeah.
Hii biashara ulianza na how much?
We have started it with I think 1200. Hatukununua viazi gunia moja, tununua gorogoro kama 4 hivi for a start.
1200 shillings?
Yeah. Hatukuwa na vitu nyingi, tukanunua ile tomato sauce ya 35 bob. Zile karatasi za 20 bob. We were trying to test tusiweke pesa nyingi ambayo hatukuwa nayo na ichome. Yeah.
Okay, so like in a day unakuwa na customers kama wangapi?
Customers ni wengi. Tuseme, let me use tule tu karatasi tu kupack to assess the customers. Zinakuanga 50 ndani na per day inaweza tumia kama tu packet tu 3 ambazo ni 150 packs ama 4. But on a Sunday and Saturday is a good day for business. Especially Sunday, we can use like 6 of them. 6 times 50.
Wow.
Yeah.
So on a good day like that, unatengenezanga how much?
In terms of
money, yes, profit.
Hiyo siku inashikanga. On daily basis, pesa inakuanga kidogo, unapata umerudisha ile yako na faida maybe kidogo. But on a Sunday, unaweza pata kuna faida ya more than 3,000, sometimes even 4,000. Kama jana ilikuwa Sunday. Yeah, jana tuliuza sana. The fact that trips were here na shule zimefungwa. Watoto wengi wako home, ni hao watoto wadogo. Unaelewa, wanapita hapo na mzazi na akiona chipo yeye izinyamanza. Yeah, on a Sunday is a good day.
So unapata profit kama 3,000,
2,000, 4,000. Kama sasa hivi watoto wako nyumbani, inaleta on a Sunday huwa inaleta. Yeah.
Okay, so nikuulize sasa, another thing ni umepata challenges kama gani?
Kama sasa hivi unaona kumenyesha. Naona mimi hapa na mvua. Okay, I thank when amenipea umbrella, but it cannot cover the whole huku kote. Another challenge, hii place unaona kuna walevi, it's a kind of a junction. Hii footbridge. Mlevi anaweza kuja asema umwekee ya 50, umwekee na asilipe. Alafu kuna wale watu kuja kunitusi. Kwa mtu anakuja anapika hapa anaanza kusema, na unakaa mrembo, hizi slay queen ameamua kupika chips. Ngine anasema kwani hauna mbaba wewe, mbona unakaa msupu hivi na unapika chipo? And then challenge nyingine ni financial. That's the biggest. This is ingine I can handle. Financial challenge
Financial
is the
challenge.
biggest challenge. Yeah.
Unafanya hii side hustle, unaona, na bado uko shule. Like what motivates you?
I really have that hope and plan. Siku moja nitachenjia mamangu na babangu maisha, natengenezea nyumba poa, ni renovate kwetu kukai poa. Yeah. Alafu pia mimi niishi maisha poa.
Sasa tumbulia na 1200 na saizi profit ni up to 4,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Unaambia nini mavijana wale wako pale mtaani wanasema serikali nipatie kazi? Unaweza wa challenge us?
What I can tell our my youths wenzangu, as much as we are waiting for the jobs that the government promised us, let's create employment for ourselves. Na ukipata kama uko na employment, kama mimi hapa tuko na sister yangu, was it not for my sister, ningekuwa nimeemploy mtu mwingine juu nimekwambia ni labor intensive and I'm also have to be in school sometimes tao. Ukianza biz, employ mwenzako and don't just wait someone to bring you money. Utaishiwa, utashangaa in Nairobi. What you can do, just the small you have, just brainstorm, start something. It will peak. Just be smart and brainstorm. Don't just wait. Hakuna mtu atakuitia kazi.
Indeed, Beverlyn is an inspiration, earning more than what the average person in Kenya. Thank you. Apologies for that story. Now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. Haki Africa has called on the government to immediately close down the Kenyan embassy in Saudi Arabia, citing that they are not helping Kenyan citizens stranded in the country. This is after 89 people reported to have died in the hands of rogue employers. According to the activists, so far at least 10 families have reported their family members are stranded, with the government seeming not to act immediately to evacuate them. Mariam Jahid with his report.
Opportunities at home, desperate men and women find themselves in the Gulf countries, more so since the onset of COVID-19 pandemic that has rendered many jobless around the world. However, tables turn when they reach those oil-rich countries as they end up living at the mercy to their employers. Vulnerable at home and vulnerable abroad, they are enslaved and badly abused as others are even killed. Those who escape find themselves in a dangled room with no food and helpless situation as they can't get means to get home. For the family of Mary, the struggle to bring their kin back home is real.
Nasikia naona natapika damu, nasikia uchungu sana, ni kichwa. Mimi naomba tu usaidizi wa kurudi Kenya. Nikijipata tu niko Kenya, nitashukuru Mungu.
Haki Africa, in its address regarding Kenyans stranded in Saudi Arabia, have pressured the government to find ways of taking them back home as they close the Kenyan embassy in Saudi Arabia and suspend Kenyans going to the Gulf countries until proper protection measures are put in place.
It's up a human rights desk, so that if there are cases of violations for our Kenyans, then they can reach out to our desk in Saudi Arabia.
In Gulf countries, foreign workers are employed under the sponsorship system known as kafala, which has been bombarded with a series of great human rights violations by tying the residency status of migrant workers to their employers, amounting to ownership. For the many Kenyans who have been stranded in Saudi Arabia, Haki Africa today have called on the government to repatriate them back. Mariam Jahid, Switch TV.
All of this search for better life, such state of affairs. Thank you, Mariam Jahid, for that story. Today, Interior PS Dr. Karanja Kibisho was in Wangoro Stadium in Mwea, Kirinyaga County, where Mashujaa Day celebrations are expected to be hosted. The venue of the event, which is almost complete with the installation of street lights in the town, is in the final phase. Similar works are ongoing in Kerugoya town, where the construction of the county commissioner's official residence and state lodge is underway. Dr. Kibisho has said the civil works are 90% complete, with completion expected in the next 3 days.
We've walked in Wanguru, we've walked in Kerugoya, driven around the county and all the associated works that we had committed to do before Mashujaa Day near complete. Can give an estimate comfortably of about 90% complete with our deadline as 8th of October. You may not have gone there, but the other residential places for our officers, down here we have the ACCs, some for the police, and also for the 4 deputy county commissioners are all spruced up in readiness for that day.
Social media services Facebook, WhatsApp and Instagram are back up and running after an outage that lasted almost 6 hours, making the company lose $7 billion. Facebook's founder Mark Zuckerberg has apologized for the disruption, which impacted more than 3.5 billion users worldwide. Our very own Cheptobo expounds the internal technical issue that took Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp and Instagram offline some minutes to 7 p.m. yesterday.
For more than 7 hours yesterday, the world got a taste of life without Facebook and its sister apps WhatsApp and Instagram. Facebook said the problem originated with a networking issue that interrupted communications between its data centers, and with the servers unable to communicate, the problems mounted, causing outages across its systems globally. For hours, potentially billions of people found themselves without the social media tools they relied upon to keep in touch with friends and family. Others reportedly found they could not access services which required a Facebook login. Businesses around the world which use social media to connect with customers were faced with the prospect of an unexpected financial hitch. Vivian Kagwiria is a social media manager.
Personally, being a social media manager, I think I lost a bit of my clients because that's where most of them reach me out through, especially Instagram. The only option was Twitter, on which not most people use Twitter as much as Instagram and WhatsApp, unless you're really business oriented. Personally, I think right now social media is everything for us. I don't think we can live without social media.
The outage brought about different reactions and demonstration of how essential the company's services have become part of people's lives.
Iliniadhiri sana kwa upande wa biashara yangu kwa sababu mimi nafanya biashara online. Niko na kampuni inaitwa Wingate na tunazungumza na wateja online. Kwa hivyo singeweza kuzungumza na wateja. Hata zile order zilikuwa zimepeanwa singeweza kujua. Huo muda wote nilipoteza biashara mingi sana.
Kazi zangu wanaitwa kwa WhatsApp ama napigiwa nini. Sasa connection jana niliathirika sana. Nilikosa, yani kazi zangu zilisimama. Haikuwa kawaida yangu yani. Sasa kulingana na mimi connection zangu ziliathiri. Kulingana sasa mimi ni mtu wa jua kali lakini niliathirika sana.
The disruption comes a day after a former employee, Francesc Hagen, leaked documents about the company claiming that Facebook optimizes for their own interest other than the public by allowing people to engage in ideas that elicit emotional reaction, hence making more money.
Consequences of how Facebook is picking out that content today is it is optimizing for content that gets engagement or reaction. But its own research is showing that content that is hateful, that is divisive, that is polarizing, it's easier to inspire people to anger than it is to other emotions.
Chepto Boit, Switch TV.
Business Desk. The Kenya Private Sector Alliance is keen to work with partner nations in order to grow the local economy, which has been adversely affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Through KEPSIS CEO Carol Kariuki and John Bosco Kalisa of East Africa Business Council, the two organizations have come up with a number of recommendations to be implemented to support cross-border trade. The leaders are optimistic that the digital sector can create millions of jobs, support the locals. They are asking the East Africa Secretariat to ensure that the Non-Tariff Barriers Act of 2017 is fast-tracked.
Our products together. We have also other resources that are similar, coffee and tea and others, plus horticultural products. How do we really bring them together and use our muscle as a EAC and be able to access other markets? And
remains a key driver in terms of continental free trade here. What are those quick wins? We looked at those quick wins. Again, we looked at the e-commerce platform. We looked at
Elsewhere, the manufacturing industry has suffered a major hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. However, the sector is on occasion not aware of incentives given by the government to cushion them, and as a result, qualifying businesses miss out on incentives rightfully available to them. While in talks with PricewaterhouseCoopers Limited discussing tax matters, the manufacturing sector job, Kabochi, PwC Africa's indirect taxes leader, says businesses should focus on measures within their control, for example, ensuring proper record keeping and accurate return filing. Kabochi has also noted that the manner in which manufacturers and other taxpayers alike handle their tax obligations is a key success factor for their businesses, and it is therefore imperative that manufacturers invest in upscaling themselves on their obligations and rights as enshrined in their fiscal legislation. The national government has urged the Mombasa County government to expedite the process of the relocation of Mwakirunge dam site to a different site. Kenya Civil Aviation Authority KCAA Director General Captain Gilbert Kibe has insisted the site poses a danger to flights landing at the Mombasa International Airport. Captain Kibe has added that this is as a result of birds which are attracted to the dam site and are causing confusion to flights landing at the airport. The KCAA Director General has urged the county government to abide by the demand to relocate the dam site in Kisauni constituency.
So we have written severally, and we're waiting for them to act and to move that side. We have an air navigation equipment at Mwakirunge. That equipment there is crucial and important for aircraft landing at Moi International Airport.
It's now time to get sporty. Mali and Kenya is set to meet on Thursday evening, with the two nations seating at the top of the African World Cup qualification group after arriving in Morocco safely. The home side hold a 2-point advantage heading into the third game of Group E, putting the pressure on their opponents to avoid defeat in Agadir. Topping Group 1, Guinea-Bissau will be facing host Morocco at Prince Moulay Abdallah Stadium, while Sudan, bottoming the group, will be battling Guinea. Kenya confirms its bid to host the 2025 World Athletics Championships, which, if accepted, will bring the event to Africa for the first time. Nairobi has hosted both the Under-18 and Under-20 World Championships the last 4 years, but faces a string of high-profile rivals, including Tokyo, which staged the Summer Olympics in July. Kenyan champions Tusker of staring at a looming court battle after their aggrieved midfielder Faraj Aminda threatened to resort to the corridors of justice in a last-ditch effort to secure a release letter. The Brewers have been caught up in a transfer saga, with Ominde alleging all his efforts to part ways with the club amicably have run into a hitch after he was secretly denied a release letter following a deal with rivals Bandari. Moving on, Menengai Oilers have signed 4 players in readiness for the 2021-2022 Kenya Cup season set to start next month. Last season's Kenya Cup semi-finalists have recruited homeboys trio of Walter Cheng, Stanley Isagal and Mohamed Omolo and John Okoth from Nakuru RFC to boost their squad as they seek to win the Kenya Cup crown. Well, that sports story marks the end of our news broadcast tonight. Many thanks for watching. I am Lincoln Wambogo. Our sign language interpreter is Tracy Dorcas. Keep it switched.